In 2021, students who successfully achieve straight A's in SPM exam is about 2.54% of the total SPM candidates, which is 0.08% increase compared to SPM 2020. Of course, COVID-19 has been a major factor, but this does raises the question whether or not KSSM format is much harder than people usually think it is. If you are new around here, then I am a science stream student who undertook 9 subjects during the past SPM exams, and I will be ranking them based on their difficulties. Let's get right into it. Number 9. Islamic Studies. We're talking about topics such as Ottoman Sultanate, marriage, tawaduk, and many more factual questions. Unless you have trouble memorizing facts, then it will not be much of a hurdle for you to navigate through the question. Also worth noting is that techniques such as the ICKK method is essential for you to answer HOTS question. Therefore, it gets a difficulty rating of 3 out of 10, the easiest amongst the 9 exams. Next on the list we have Bahasa Melayu. This exam is pretty straightforward. Students must sleep early to optimize their hearing senses for listening tests, as well as to communicate effectively for speaking tests. While these exams and paper 1 concerns more about current headlines, you need to be more meticulous in paper 2, especially in the grammatical errors segment. Overall, it gets a difficulty rate of 4.5 out of 10, as it is one of the most anticipated and targeted subjects for students to not only pass, but to attain outstanding marks as well. Then comes to number 7, which is English. Infamously remembered for its deep and profound philosophy, as well as Kamal, who sells pineapple jam, listening test was the only impediment for students from scoring A+ in English. Nevertheless, speaking test was alright, even though a bit unusual, but thanks to paper 1 and paper 2, there is a slight opportunity to nail an applaudable result. In summary, I would say it receives a 5.5 out of 10 in terms of its difficulty rating. Number 6 is Chemistry. To put it simply, it is complex but not perplexing, particularly in the first paper where we need to comprehend every question carefully. The third paper was all about the anticipated exothermic reaction, but we had to be wary of the time limit. What came to me as a surprise was paper 2 encompassed an experiment procedure questions related to how we can produce homemade ethanol, hence the most difficult part of the exam. Because of this, I would personally rate its difficulty for a 6 out of 10. Not too shabby, right? After that we have number 5, which is History. The best way to fast-track your revision for history exam is through none other than quizzes. However, candidates must never, I say again, never underestimate shenanigans behind the actual objective part in paper 1, which encapsulates a bunch of twisted questions combined with indirectly implied answers. Furthermore, expertise in answering HOTS questions is vital to reduce our reliance towards failed predicted topics. Hence, history exam receives a difficulty of 6.5 out of 10. Subsequently, at number 4 is Physics. I'm sure we were all deceived by this, which was the hardest of the 3 experiment tests. The first and second paper have an extensive set of real-life application by utilizing principles and concepts from physics. For example, Einstein's photoelectric theory applied to solar panels, linear velocity applied to satellites, electromagnetism in dynamo, and most notably, heat transfer for buildings. It was definitely the most satisfying exam thus far, at least from my point of view. But despite that, it was quite challenging. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the top 3, starting off with number 3 is Mathematics. Initially began with convenient questions in paper 1, turned out to be the calm before the storm, as SPM candidates were left in shock after sitting for the second paper. It was a test to evaluate students' capability, mainly in financial topics relating to insurance and tax. Statistics, networking in graph theory, trigonometry were amongst many abstract concepts in the exam. For this reason, it gets 8 out of 10 in terms of difficulty rate, but that does not mean we might not pass the exam. Ranked second on the list, we have biology, popular by many to have a whopping amount of 28 topics that needs to be memorized. Granted that we experienced the easiest experiment test in biology exam, it gets harder the further we proceed to the first and second paper. Notably in paper 2, there was a staggering amount of unusual questions such as the importance of topiary plants and even dichotomy. As you can see in this page, seems likely to be ignored, right? Well, actually, there's an important piece of information which is the types of fruits over here. As a result, it receives 8.5 out of 10 for its difficulty rate. The main takeaway: accumulate as much hidden information as possible, even if they seem insignificant. And finally, number 1. You might have probably guessed it from the beginning of this video, and that is notorious for its unforgivingness. From my personal experience, no matter how much effort I strive into daily exercises, exam-based questions, it is impossible to finish it with a sense of security in your mind. The big relief, however, came when it was time to answer paper 2, which included questions such as the vectors, normal distribution, but also the 3 of the most favorite topics in additional maths, including linear law, solution of triangles, and index number. Regardless, it's not all that gloomy weather, since the grades will most likely experience a significant drop considering how difficult it was. So there is still a slight chance for us to achieve credits, or hopefully even excellent grades. I don't want to exaggerate, but this exam receives the highest difficulty rate, which is 9 out of 10. And there you have it. That concludes my video for today. If this video brought value, then I would massively appreciate if you subscribe to this channel. I'll be making future videos regarding educational tips, so let me know in the comment section down below which subject do you want me to share it with you. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.